What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. In today's video, I kind of wanted to do a video since it's 2026 about the current state of my account in terms of what kind of epics I still use to this day. Both my accounts I've been playing for over 5 years, full-time active, ever since I created both of the accounts. So the epics that I will be still using would be a lot different than someone that just started their account, very recently, or even if you're in the mid or late game account. Both my accounts are very end game, so obviously epics don't really fill the same kind of role as they do in a brand new or mid-game type of account. Now, I'm also going to list 5 surprising epics that I don't use at all that are actually top epics in the game. So I want to ask you guys to list in the comments below what you guys think would be some epic surprises or epics that I actually will be using still to this day that you guys may or may not be using yourselves. And if you guys have a list of most popular epics on your account, please feel free to list it in the comments. I would love to read and hear your experiences as well. With that all being said, let's jump into this video. So first of all, we're going to go jump into my roster here on my main account, and we will be doing a include master vault, include reserve vault, and then we'll jump into the epics only. So obviously my account's very developed. Like I said, it's over 5 years old. Lots of +4 epics here. Obviously open up a lot of shards along the way during 2x events. You're bound to get a lot of epic champions. Empowering them, definitely necessary. I ended up choosing just to empower them. Basically when I need to use them even once, I would empower them, but I wouldn't just empower complete garbage. Okay. All right. With that being said, let's jump into the list here. So the top 5 epics on my account that I still use for, pretty significant regularity. I'm going to start off here, and it's going to be my pick for still the best epic in the game, whether you're beginner, middle, late, or end game. And that's going to be Geomancer here. Geomancer, I still use pretty regularly on my account. Obviously, he's very insane with the HP burn and how his passive works against bosses, just crazy amounts of damage. He does bring an A1 AoE, which is really, really good as well. And then his A2 with the strip is actually really nice as well. And it works really well in the area where I use him mainly, and that's going to be in Faction Wars hard mode. Now, the Geomancer here in this build, it looks kind of weird. It's in a regen set. And then he does have the golden elixir too. But this Geomancer basically allows me to consistently defeat the stage 21 hard mode boss without having to do any kind of reruns. As long as I can get to the boss, which is no issue with my team, but then fighting through the boss, I do require this Geomancer to get me through 100% of the time. So it's very, very useful to have this guy around. Obviously, I use Geomancer a lot for testing purposes because Geomancer is just the people's champion. He's one of the best damage dealing epics in the game in terms of boss damage. So he's really, really good for like boss testing and just testing purposes. So I do use him very regularly. Outside of that, he does get used in a couple stages in Centranos as well. I got him as a +4, and I got another 2 that are 60 as well. So I got 3 level 60 Geomancers handling content for me. And this guy is just massive in terms of account changing power, especially if you pull him early. So Geomancer gets the #1 spot still on the list of my most used or still used epics on my account. I'm sure that's not much of a surprise to most people, but I think most endgame players might have phased him out by now. Moving on to my next most used or another most used champion, epic champion on my account, and that's going to be Miss Rider Dythy. Miss Rider Dythy, I have him here in a DPS build with good speed, good accuracy, some crit damage, 100% crit rate, no relics, but then he does have a 6-star crushing rend blessing on him, so he can rip through the PvE content. Now I use him as my main DPS for Faction Wars hard mode, level 21 for the Sylvan Watchers. I don't have so many good DPS champions for the Sylvan Watchers. Miss Rider Dythy shows up there and he gets the job done for that role. Also, I have another level 60 Miss Rider Dythy that I use together with this one, this +4 one, for at least a couple of Centranos levels. So both of them together, one is in a stun set and then one is in a DPS set. And I use them in some of the hardest, nastiest levels in Soul Cross. So both of these guys, extremely, extremely good. Obviously this one, self-buffing, extra turn, and then AoE decreased defense here, and there's a chance for the conditional extra turn mechanic, which is really, really nice. And of course, with the 6-star Crushing Ren, it definitely boosts his power up quite a bit. So for me, Mist Rider Daithi has stood the test of time, and he's still getting used right now. Until I pull a much better damage dealer for the Sylvan Watchers, he's going to get a lot of full-time action as that role. All right, on to the next epic that I still use pretty regularly on my end game account, and we're going to stick with the Sylvan Watchers here, and we're going to go into Creelden the Blue. Creelden here has actually stood the test of time. He's an incredible, incredible epic. If you guys are still progressing through the game, this guy is an absolute stud muffin. He's got an A1 here, the triple hit with the freeze. This guy is tailor-made to help you guys in hard Fire Knight. In that dungeon, this guy's tailor-made for that role. He's got the triple hit freeze here. He's got a double hit freeze here. It's a higher chance to land this. This is a pretty low chance. It's only 35% chance to land, but it's triple hit. This one is going to be a 65% chance, but then it's a double hit. And then he also brings increased speed and the turn meter boost, which is really, really nice. He also gains additional turn meter with his passive as well. So for him, he just likes to get extra turns, get all his attacks in, get the freezes off, make sure your teammates gets turns as well. And that's how you're going to deal with the hard Fire Knight. So for him, I have actually 2 of these guys built to level 60. This guy's really good when I was first tackling hard Fire Knight, and then he transitioned into a role where he actually was really, really good in Cintranos. There's a couple Cintranos levels where he's super strong against the hard Fire Knight. And then I actually have 2 of these Creeldens built out, both of them in Relentless, so that they get extra turns, extra A1s, extra triple hits, and then obviously decent speed with some good accuracy to help them get their turns back, get them to get more attacks. But these guys get a lot of value on my endgame account still. If you guys manage to pull him early, he has a lot of very good abilities as well. Obviously, the freezes are very good just to help you to deal with waves, and then increased speed is obviously very strong as well. Good champ, but his best spot is against the hard Fire Knight. Up next, perhaps a no-brainer for some people, but for an endgame account, this champion just doesn't really see too much play. But for me, lately, Man-Eater has been getting a permanent spot on my Ice Golem Hard 10 team. Now, the Ice Golem Hard 10 team with the Man-Eater is actually a turn attack team where I complete the level in about 20 turns or less, and the Man-Eater enables that with the unkillable and the block debuffs. This ability allows basically my damage dealers just go crazy against the Ice Golem and then not suffer fatal damage or anything like that, or get frozen. So the Man-Eater is very, very useful there. He doesn't have crazy gear or anything, just has to hit the speed requirements, which is to go first, 330 speed, which is quite high, but he doesn't really need to have crazy anything. He just needs to be there to land his A3, but just for that, he actually gets a full-time permanent job on my dungeon farming team for Ice Golem Hard 10. Obviously, if you use him in content where you use him for like clan boss and stuff, then he's going to have a full-time spot on your clan boss team. But for me, I definitely outgrew Man-Eater very, very a long time ago. I did use Man-Eater way back in the day, like budget Man-Eater teams and all that. I went through all those stages, guys. So I outgrew him a long time ago, but he recently resurfaced, and obviously I used this guy in hard faction wars and stuff like that. He's just an incredible champion for that kind of content. So we could say that he actually stood the test of time. Now, lastly, I'm going to give a shout out to my old OG here that actually did not see any play for a long time, but then I recently brought him out and he was actually huge, and I actually built him out fully, maxed him out, and then I built a second one actually to help me out with this stage, and that's going to be Old Man Tyrell here. Old Man Tyrell, I think I've mentioned this in a couple of videos, but Old Man Tyrell is the first real epic that I pulled on my account, and I would say I credit Tyrell with keeping me in the game because I was pulling shards on a 2x Ancient event. I think I saved up like 40 or something, and I literally pulled nothing for those 40 shards, and in the last shard it came out Tyrell, and I was so pumped up for Tyrell because Tyrell is just a huge carry, especially when you're brand new. He's got the A1 decreased attack, very good against clan boss. He's got the decreased defense here on an AoE, which is really strong. However, it is on a 4-turn cooldown, which is not the best, especially nowadays. I never really thought about it that way, how bad it was. But he does have a 4-turn AoE decreased defense, and he has a single target attack here that drops the turn meter and then lands a stun on a single target. He can hit pretty hard. He's defense based. So for me, I got this guy +4 empowered. I do have another Tyrell +4 empowered as well, and I use both of them strictly for, obviously, faction wars is very important, but the other stage that I really needed to use the Tyrells in, and that was going to be actually in this rotation of Curse City, and it's going to be against this level with the 2 Taras with the Marichka opening wave, and I have to use these champions to get through them. Is actually a insanely difficult level, but the 2 Tyrells here are so good. They have the stun abilities. You put them in the stun sets, and then they can do a lot of work for you. So for me, definitely massive champion for my account. To get through that stage so I can get the rewards. So I had to give a shout out here for my old man Tyrell. So although his kit didn't age super well, throughout the years, 6-7 years of this game, I still ended up finding a very significant use for him to get through that stage, which is considered probably one of the hardest stages in all of Soul Cross Curse City. All right, so I just went through the list of epics that I still use with high regularity on my account. Geomancer, Daithi, Creodin, Tyrell, and Man-Eater. All these guys have very important roles on my account. Now I'm going to go over 5 epic champions on my account that are considered very good champions, maybe even top tier epic champions, but I do not use at all. I do not use basically at all nowadays. I'm curious if you guys can guess them, but I'm going to start off here first with my Shamail. Shamail, I don't really use anymore on my account. He obviously is a very important account for Hydra progression. If you have Hydra teams that struggle against the Torment Head, Shamail is an excellent champion to help you just deal with that. Obviously, his passive makes it so that the fears get removed, and you actually boost the turn meter of your leader spot as well, so it actually benefits you when the head of Torment show up. So Shamail's really good at that. He can actually deal some decent damage as well with his A2 ignore. He can ignore 100% of the target's defense very easily. Now his base attack's not very high, so they definitely balanced him that way. But you can definitely build him to deal damage as well. So I have a couple Shamails here built, but I do not use them anymore. Mainly because their best role was for Hydra, and I've outgrown using Shamail on my Hydra teams. Now, like I said, as an endgame account, these epics, even though I don't use them, you might still lean on them pretty heavily for your own accounts. This is not to say that they're bad or anything like that. This is just a bit of a surprise list of epics that I don't really use anymore. So up next, in terms of the surprise epics I don't actually use at all, but are widely considered very good, Godseeker Aniri. I don't really use Godseeker Aniri at all. I don't use her at all. Generally speaking, Godseeker Aniri is the one-stop answer to deal with Sand Devil Necropolis, right? You pair you pair Aniri with any kind of damage dealer, and then you can kind of kill the Sand Devil without too many issues. Even do it with 3 food. But for me, I have a full team that can kill the Sand Devil in 6 turns, so I don't really need a champion like Godseeker Aniri to do it. I do have her set up in the build here, the proper build to run with, for example, like a Newt or something. I think I was testing her out. So I have the option to run her with the damage dealer and run 3 food. But then there's another option nowadays to run with food, and that's going to be Empress. So if I wanted to run food, I run with Empress with 4 food. It's a little bit longer, but it runs with 4 food. And if I'm going for turn attack, then I'm going to run my double Newt Seafeed team, which kills the boss in, I think it's like 6 turns or something. So for me, Godseeker just doesn't really fill that role for me anymore. But like I said, for a lot of people, she is the answer for Sand Devil, but just not for my account. So moving on to the next epic that's actually widely considered really good, but I don't use at all. And that is going to be Vogoth. Vogoth, I was looking for this champion for a long time. Because he was one of the answers for Bommel before all the answers started coming out for Bommel, like Lady Annabelle and stuff like that, even Nishak. But I was looking for this champion for a long time because he has a passive here that whenever he gets hit, he basically heals everybody by the damage received, or by a percentage of the damage received. He's a really good champ against like bosses because he plays his leech as well. He also extends some of the debuffs, which is really good. So he could extend, for example, Geomancer's HP burn. He could extend his own leech. But he's a great support champion, lots of healing and all that. But for my account, I've definitely outgrown this kind of strategy. I don't need to basically out heal content anymore. There's not any significant content where I take so much damage that this passive would be very useful. Now, that's not to say that I don't occasionally test him out on the test server, for example, for some strategies, because I recognize that his ability is still very strong. And if you have him, he's going to be really, really good in a lot of areas. He's also has some niche uses in arena as well, which makes him even more strong as an overall champion. But Bogoth on my account, I don't really use at all, but still a great overall champion. The next champion here on this list that I have is actually Allure. Allure, you can kind of see here, she has a immunity set. Now this set is obviously used way back in the day when I was using her with, I forgot what team, against Fire Knight perhaps. But Allure is just a champion that I just don't use anymore, basically because I have multiple Newts on my team, and Newt is just a upgraded Allure in a lot of ways. Allure is still very good for normal Fire Knight, for Dark Fae. She's still extremely strong there. She gets used in a lot of Cintranos levels as well. So you still need Allure, but you're just not going to use her full time. At least for myself, I'm not going to use her full time anymore in any kind of real content. You can see her build here is super outdated, but she's really, really strong, especially early on in the game. I believe she is offered as a promo code for brand new players, and she is an answer to the early Fire Knight. So really strong champion, but in the late game for me, she just definitely fell off. And then the last epic surprise champion on my list that I basically don't use anymore, you guys might have guessed it by now, but it's going to be Seer. Seer is a champion that obviously everyone would consensus agree would be the best epic champion in the game for a long, long time. For many years, actually, Seer was just considered the only real option to speed run dungeons. You make a Seer team to speed run all the dungeons. All the comps had Seer in them. It was getting very redundant, and she was basically like a legendary champion at that point. Now for me, obviously I did run Seer teams as well, but now I've actually totally outgrown the Seer teams. The last one being the Ice Golem team. So previously I did run Seer with my Ice Golem team, and then once you get to the Ice Golem, I would solo the Ice Golem with Artak. But nowadays I just run Marius with the Man Eater teams and then just nuke everybody down, and it's actually even faster than the Seer teams. The other spot where Seer can actually be okay would be like Dragon Waves, but Dragon is just so easily defeated nowadays. You don't really need Seer for anything. I run basically Marius with a DPS champion, and I run with 3 food, and it's still super fast. It's still super low turns, so I don't necessarily need Seer anymore for that role either. Outside of that, maybe Doom Tower Waves, but I just run Nukers for Doom Tower Waves nowadays, so she doesn't get any use there either. So for me, even though she's fully geared out and all that, she doesn't really get too much use. I think the last time I used Seer was in the event dungeon. I forgot which one. Maybe it was against Odin or something, but that was a long time ago. There could have been maybe another one. I'm not too sure. I'm trying to think. But Odin for sure, and that was like last year. But yeah, Seer is one of those champions that everybody looks for in the beginning, but she's not actually the best champion for early game accounts because you need good gear to make her work, and then you need a proper team to really make her work, and proper gear sets too. So for example, a shield set. So for me, Seer is still a mid or late game kind of nuking champion. She still requires good gear, and she requires the right team around her with the right sets. Otherwise, you're not going to get great results with her. Obviously, she's still going to get a lot of use for a lot of accounts, but for my account, she's just not seeing any use anymore. And it's super surprising considering how highly touted she was back in the day. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the list of, my most used or my used epic champions on my account, and 5 surprise epics that I don't use at all anymore. Let me know in the comments below if you guys got any of those epics right on your own list. Let me know in the comments below what kind of epics you are still using on your account. Obviously, list how long you've been playing the game, where you are in terms of progression and stuff, because everybody's account's going to be different, right? Some champions that I don't use, maybe you guys heavily lean on, and that's totally fine, right? It really depends on what account you have, what kind of progression you're working on and all that. I just thought this would be an interesting video just to recap my account a little bit and maybe give you guys a little bit of foresight into what epics actually hold their value or gain more value as you progress later and later into the game. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Appreciate you guys watching until the end. If you guys enjoyed the content, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. That really, really helps me out. And I'll see you guys in the next video.